but 7 million subscribers, all right? And as you said, it's been quite the journey. And I know that music has been something quite personal for you ever since your youth. I mean, when you started learning Carnatic music, which is a very beautiful form of music at age 5. But I think that as a young girl growing up in America, I mean, there was certain things that you went through that I think many of us from minority and especially South Asian, Indo-Caribbeans, we go through that as well. In
Yeah.
fact, you describe it as the identity crisis. So when you look back at that and then here you are today, I mean, how would you describe that feeling?
I think, you said it, basically music helped me discover, myself and my identity. I think so much of it growing up, I felt like it was very binary. I thought, okay, I have to be American, I have to fit into school, and I have to do all these things that other kids are doing, and not really like tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody really in school like that I had learned music, or I had this like entire other life at home. And so then when I'd go home, I felt like, okay, I have to be like really Indian, and I have to speak in Tamil and like do all these things that I felt like, okay, I have to be Indian at home. So it never felt like I could be somehow both. So I think that's something that as I did more music and I got in touch with kind of that side of my self, I felt like, okay, this is something that I can do. I can be both. I can be American and I can be Indian. And they're not mutually exclusive. And finding that balance and being okay with that, and, being proud of my heritage is something that I've learned as an adult. And I would, it was a painful process, but I feel like I would never, I don't take it for granted anymore. And
Let me ask you, I mean, who's been your inspiration in terms of English music? I know that you've studied Carnatic music at the age of 5 and all the way through, but in terms of like American artists, I mean, who's been your inspiration? Like as a kid, you listen to her or maybe to him and you're like, you know what, one of these days I want to replicate what that person's doing.
oh my God, hands down Beyonce. If anybody knows me at all, I am a huge Beyonce fan, So definitely hands down Beyonce in terms of American artists, but also I listen to a wide variety of artists. So I also love, Nicki Minaj. I love Coldplay. I love, even like old school rappers like, old school Jay-Z or Tupac or, you know, yeah, so I really love a lot of different artists. And more recently, Dua Lipa has been amazing. I love Ariana Grande. So like Rosalia, more specifically, she's awesome. She does like a similar like flamenco fusion in her music and sings in Spanish. So she's very cool. So I really get inspired by a lot of artists that are, doing their thing. But if I had to pick one, it would be Beyonce.
Think that we're in the era of women empowerment. So I think that that video sent a message that, well, here, we're women, we're here, like, I mean, don't underestimate us, right? Is that one of the sense?
Yeah, that absolutely is. Thalaivi means female leader in
Right.
Tamil, which is my native language. And I feel like if you are a woman, you're strong automatically. There's no like weak woman. You don't find that. And I feel like women are just even today, like we're, fighting for things like equal pay. We're fighting for, so many issues. And I feel like on top of that, we're raising kids, we're running businesses, we are, taking care of our families, being sisters, friends, mothers, daughters. And I think that, and all do it while looking good and trying to keep a smile on our face. So I think that's something that I really saw my mom doing growing up, and also my grandma and I, the sacrifices they've made so that I could live my dream, because my grandma obviously didn't live her dream, and she obviously, she was like a housewife, so that was not her dream in life, but she had to do that so then my mom could live a little bit of hers, but then finally in my generation I can live mine. And so I was thinking of the word Thalaivi with Shankar, and we were talking about it, and I was like, you know what, this literally represents my grandma and my mom. Like they are the female leaders in their communities, in their families, and I just felt like very natural to dedicate the song to them. And my grandma was actually also there on set because it was in Chennai. We shot it in Chennai about 2 hours outside of the city, and she was there on set, and she was fully enjoys, you know, coming on set or coming to my concerts and stuff. So it was really fun to do that video, and that song had a lot of meaning to it while I was writing it and shooting. So
sun up, head out, glitter and gold. Got my ladies by my side. What you been told? Independent, gotta take pride, yeah. 'Cause I'm living my life.
At some of the songs actually that you've put out there and that's been well accepted by so many people. Before releasing a song on YouTube, I mean, is there ever any hesitance in your mind? I mean, do you ever like say to yourself, maybe this should be like that, or we should revisit the drawing board so many times? I mean, like, you know, give us a thought process when you are creating some of these Bollywood mashups, and even like, you know, a song like Lost in the Summer. You know, let us know basically, how does it go, or how many times do you go through the deconstructing and reconstructing period?
yeah, it really depends on the song. A song like Thalaivi, for example, we wrote it the day before the video shoot. And that just flowed. And as soon as we did it, and I like recorded scratch vocals, I felt, okay, this feels good. And this doesn't need any changes. I did change the key on it later, but basically structure wise and lyric wise, it was all the same. Usually before it goes into video shoot mode, I finalize the song. We have to, because, you know, when you shoot video, you have to shoot it to the same lyrics and the same tempo and things like that. But creating the actual song, so for example, Shankar would have a beat, or I could have a melody idea, and we will sit in the studio, which is where we are right now. It's my just our bedroom converted to a studio. We will just sit here and, you know, brainstorm some like lyric ideas or melody ideas over a beat that Shankar maybe has or is created, and we'll see if it feels good. So we'll write a song, like a verse, chorus, and pre-chorus, see how that feels, and then come back to it the next day, and we're like, okay, it still sounds good and we still love it, then we'll continue writing it. So that's kind of how we've been doing it over the past few weeks. It's obviously does change depending on, you know, the song and depending on my mood, honestly. But like in kind of an overall sense, that's how we do it.
You think that music has actually, you know, I mean, been a strong part in terms of like getting that acceptance for the Indians, actually the NRIs and Indians actually here in America?
I think it is a few factors. I think, you know, obviously Priyanka Chopra and her being a lead in a mainstream show, a network show like that, really did a huge wonder for that. You know, I think her impact on, you know, pop culture and the image of India and the way it's been seen has honestly been exponential, and it's been amazing that she's been able to do that. And, you know, people like Mindy Kaling, like I'm a huge fan of her. You know, she's been around for a while, but first she also created, you know, shows like Never Have I Ever and things that are a little bit more mainstream. And with the dawn of Netflix and with, you know, Netflix greenlighting scripts that are a little bit more inclusive to other cultures and telling stories of our people,
Right.
I think it's really, you know, everyone has loved it. I think people, non-Indian people, have watched shows like that. And so I think people really realize, you know, at the end of the day, we're all the same. Like we all have the same problems and the same worries and the hopes and dreams. So I think that's really what has helped, you know, change the perception and helped understand, you know, give people the understanding of Indian culture or South Asian culture in general, and of South Asian people. So I think we still have a long way to go. And I think there could be more stories, and I think there could be more people of color in general in mainstream media. But I think it's a good first step.
All right, so let's come to some of your songs. Actually, I mean, so what do you do to overcome your sadness and also the negativity?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I think one of the first times I remember experiencing hate was for the Thal Se Thal Mila remix that we did, and I remember just not getting out of bed for like 2 days. I was
Wow.
so sad, but I then obviously have improved. I mean, a little bit more now. I think I just expect it. I just expect that people are not going to like it. And, you know, because you can't please everybody and then I'm going to just die trying. And that's just not what I want to do. I want to do music that I like and the one that I'm proud of, that tells, you know, my story or my friend's story. So I think in that fact, like telling myself that it's music that I am proud of and no matter what people say, I can stand behind it, I think really helps me.